So prompt engineering is all about using prompts in Bard or ChatGPT to achieve a desired result, to accomplish some kind of worthwhile goal. So one of the goals that my wife and I have been discussing is starting a podcast that deals with homesteading. So I'm going to see what Bard and ChatGPT have to say about this. So first, with Bard, I asked how someone can use multiple prompts to achieve a desired result. And it said multiple prompts can be used to provide more context, can be used to narrow down the results and to get different perspectives. Now, what's interesting is that in this first answer, it actually was referring to ChatGPT, and it was referencing a source. And this is very interesting because it seems like maybe Bard is more connected into Google search, or maybe doesn't have the same kind of time limitation that ChatGPT does. I'm not sure about that, but I decided I needed to be more specific. So I asked, how can someone use multiple Bard prompts to achieve a desired result? And it kind of gave some of the same things we've been talking about in other episodes. Be specific, use keywords, use examples, order your prompts in a logical way, be patient. Then it gave it some examples of sequences of prompts. For example, if you want to learn more about AI, you could begin by asking, what is it? And then, what are the different types, which is more specific? And then finally, how is artificial intelligence used in the real world? And then I got down to brass tacks here. So I asked, suppose that someone wants to start a podcast about homesteading. So I'm providing some context, sort of sketching a persona, someone who wants to start a podcast about homesteading. And then I ask, how could this person use multiple Bard prompts to achieve her desired result? And it gave 4 specific ideas. So brainstorm topic ideas, and then to research specific topics, and then to write scripts for the episodes, and then finally to promote the podcast. So that's 4 distinct tasks that would require the use of multiple Bard prompts. And then it gave some specific examples of prompts that could be used to do each of those 4 things. So I thought that was actually very helpful, very concrete and specific. Let's see what ChatGPT had to say. So step 1, identify your desired result. So in my case, I'm interested in starting a podcast about homesteading. And then it says create a set of related prompts. So that could, you could actually use Bard or ChatGPT to brainstorm what these related prompts might be. Thirdly, of course, provide explicit instructions, avoid ambiguity, be clear. This one, use continuation tokens. This is something that I'm going to have to research that some more. Sounds interesting. I had no idea there is such a thing as a continuation token. Of course, experiment and iterate. Combine and concatenate. This one is interesting. Not exactly sure what it means by that. I know concatenate means to string together. Maybe this is asking it to summarize. And then organize the prompts logically, and then be aware of the limitations. So then I put ChatGPT the same question. Suppose that someone wants to start a podcast about homesteading. How could this person use... oh, man. Okay, I gotta... Hang on a second. So I think that ChatGPT just totally ignored the fact that I said Bard prompts. Anyway, so it suggests an initial prompt, which is about writing an introduction for the first episode, generating a list of episode topics, an engaging personal story. Curious to see what ChatGPT would come up with there. Coming up with fictional a fictional dialogue. Not interested in that, although it could. I'd be interested in coming up with some questions to ask an expert for sure. Craft a closing segment for one of the podcast episodes, and then write a concluding statement for the first episode of the podcast. So this is really interesting. It shows how every aspect of a podcast you could give ChatGPT some prompts for that. I then asked multiple ChatGPT prompts and came up with some slightly different ones. I mean, again, there was write an engaging introduction. Now this is a little bit different. 3 different episode format ideas. So interview style, solo episodes, panel discussions. Generate 5 topics. Provide suggestions for guest speakers. That's really interesting. Generate some episode titles. And suggest some podcast names and taglines and describe the logo. That's really fascinating. And then write a closing statement for each episode that encourages listeners to subscribe. So again, I actually think this is better because I think which is interesting, just by saying I wanted ChatGPT prompts instead of Bard prompts, it gave me some ideas that deal with more different aspects of the podcast. If this video is valuable to you, please click the like button and also subscribe to this channel. In addition, please consider becoming a patron of AI Bootcamp or buying me some brain fuel using the links in the video description.